Certainty of death, small chance of success. What are we waiting for?
Fellas, I feel this is my lucky day.
Brilliant.
Hey, and welcome to another episode of Rankum. This is going to be a fun one today. We're going to be talking about disaster movies, and we have a fun panel here. Of course, I had to have Austin here. Austin, how's it going?
Of course, you had to reach out to me, Malcolm. If you remember back on the Movie Hero Network back in the day, I sort of pseudo-hosted a disaster movie tournament. So, yes, I'm all in on the disaster movies. I love them. You know I do. So, thanks for having me.
Also here we've got Stacey. Stacey, how's it going?
It's good. Hopefully this will not be a disaster. So we'll be, right into it.
Also here has been demoted to the closet today. We've got Chad. Chad, how's it going?
Rankum can never be a disaster. It could be chaotic, but we'll see. We'll see.
It can be infuriating.
It often is infuriating,
yes.
But that aside, I am very excited, even still.
Go see the episode about game shows every time Jordan Anderson said something and drove me nuts on that show.
Let's not forget his hot take about Jeopardy.
Jeopardy,
last but not least, we got Richie. Richie, how's it going?
Jeopardy rules. Look,
Yes.
I just want to say it's 2024, Chad. It's okay to come out of the closet. But
one day,
yeah.
We'll see.
All right, so, yeah, but no, good to be here. I'm not sure about your thumbnail. Fuck that movie, but still good.
What do you mean? It's only about how high it makes it on this ranking. How dare you, Richie? You mean it's not a great parody of literal disaster movies and it's just a bunch of references to
Yeah,
movies?
just a bunch of references. Oh yeah, I think it's they're just mentioning movies and going, "Hey, that movie exists."
You mean Iron Man and a cow don't have anything to do with disaster movies?
No.
I mean,
Okay.
maybe the cow, maybe
Maybe the cow. Yeah, it could be. Don't spoil my first pick.
Anyway, of that, how Rankum works, we each go around and nominate a movie if I think belongs on a top 12 list, and then everyone else says yes or no to it. But Austin, what is the first movie you're going to bring up?
Well, you guys know me. You know some of my favorite movies of all time. I literally watched this movie again with my lady friend the other night. We had a good time. We got a sequel coming out. Probably one of the reasons we're doing this show. I got to nominate Twister right off the top. I love Twister. This movie is an absolute blast. It's a great time. Just a really fun ensemble. The late, great Bill Paxton, one of my favorite actors of all time. And yeah, you got Philip Seymour Hoffman in there, Carrie Elways, a bevy of great little character actors like Alan Ruck. It's just so much fun. It's very, very 90s, but Jan de Bont coming right off of Speed and Mark Messina's score for the movie is terrific. It's just a blast from start to finish, and I don't think there's been a better tornado movie since then. So, let's rock with Twister right off the bat. Got to.
Stacey, what do you say about Twister?
I don't love Twister, but I do enjoy it. It is fun. It's very early on the list, so at like 10, I'm not sure that I would say yes. But here, I mean, for the attraction it spawned at Universal alone, even though that's now gone, but it was so much fun when it was there. I will say yes.
Twister : Ride It Out.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I meant I'm gonna ride many times.
Chad, what do you say about Twister?
Yeah, this was one I feel like I grew up with, but there was a long period where I hadn't seen it much. And then there was one time where for trivia I had to deep cut it. And so I watched it, and even though I was watching for trivia, I still really enjoyed it. I love Bill Paxton in it, or Bill Pullman. Sorry. And it is Bill Paxton. You're right. I confuse them a lot. And I also
just
never understood that.
you're all disoriented in the closet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am. I am. But no,
Yeah,
I also was
you
gonna,
know, you can crack a door for more oxygen if you need to your brain. You know, that might help a little bit.
but yeah, I was also going to bring up the ride that Stacy brought up because I remember that being pretty excellent too. So, and you know, if you didn't love the movie before that ride, well, I guess you can never ride it now. But it was pretty excellent. So, but yeah, the movie is really great. I agree with Austin. I don't know if we'll ever get a better like tornado movie, maybe even storm movie. I don't know. I'd have to really think about that. But yeah, I would definitely say yes for Twister. I think it's great.
Richie, what do you say about Twister?
I think it sucks that I can't go on that ride because my mum's body has to be in Australia. That was annoying. Like, you know, you couldn't make it. You have a vacation in you know America. Well, anyway, cool. But yeah, so no, I love Twister. I mean, you know, my nickname when you gave it away. Yeah, I love everything about this movie. It's very very 90s. I'm looking forward to Twisters. I a bit of pause. The director of Minari, which is not someone I would have chosen for this, but you know he might do a good job. You never know. And you know, and they're determined to make Glenn Powell a thing. So we'll yeah. We'll
Hopefully
see.
he's good and not the next like Sam Worthington or something like that. You know, maybe he's
Jai
better than
Courtney,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, Jai Courtney. Yes.
But yeah, so absolutely, I would say yes. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's always interesting when some directors make some decisions. Because if you were to tell me that Barry Jenkins is directing a prequel to the Lion King remake, I would have been, well, you've been crazy, but it's happened. But yeah, I actually watched Twister for the first time for this. This is one of those ones like I don't know how I ended up missing. I think it was just one of those ones like I may have just shrugged off that back when I was younger, thinking, oh, yeah, it's just a movie about tornado. It's not going to have any fit. But yeah, I actually really enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun. And yeah, so it's going to be an easy yes for me. So Trista is going to make the list. Stacey, we go to you for your next nomination or your first nomination.
So while I do agree that Twister is probably the best tornado movie, I do think there's a better storm movie. It's maybe not more fun, but I think it's a better movie. It's for my money the best natural disaster movie there is, and that would be The Impossible. If you've never seen it, which a lot of people haven't because it's called The Impossible, and that name makes nobody interested really. But it's a true story about a family in Thailand when a tsunami hit on Christmas. It was the two parents and three brothers, three kids, and it is just a fantastic movie. It has held my attention more than once, which if you know me at all, you know that's a huge feat. It's a big feat to hold my attention once through a movie at home. To do it multiple times is crazy. It feels like it's half its runtime. It's just so good. The performances. I think it was Tom Holland's first movie. It was definitely his first big role. He is very young, and it probably his best performance. He's fantastic in it. Naomi Watts and Ewan McGregor as the parents are both also very, very good. And it gives you all of your emotions. It just has everything. And the underwater filming is so good and realistic and visceral in this movie. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen such realistic underwater mayhem with debris and just everything. I don't know how they filmed it and had people be safe, but it looks great. So The Impossible is my pick.
Chad, what do you say about The Impossible?
I'm guessing maybe like a ton of CGI or a great stunt team. But I will say I did watch this movie for the ranking. It's the only one that I actually got a chance to watch in full for the ranking because I really wanted to see this one for a long time because I knew it had a really young Tom Holland in it. I was very interested in that, but also like I think like tsunami, like water type of disasters are really interesting. But I wasn't really prepared for how heavy this movie was going to be. I I watched it and then I was like, this is a freaking horror movie. This is, and it gets very dark and dramatic and hard to watch, many times because it does feel very realistic. And it gets, kind of so tragic sometimes that I found myself actually kind of laughing a little bit, like, wow, Drew really went for it. But yeah, I do agree. I think this might be Tom Holland's best performance. It's definitely up there. And then as soon as I knew Ewan McGregor was in this, I knew Stacy would be bringing it up. So I was prepared to say yes then, and I'm saying yes now. I do think it's not, like she said, not a fun movie, but I think a damn good one, and it's scary as hell.
Richie, what do you say about The Impossible?
You heard it here first. Chad laughs at tragedies.
Yeah,
I like The Impossible. It's not something I go back to just because when I watch disaster movies, it's more like a for like popcorn kind of turn your brain off kind of fun kind of thing. But I do like the kind of I think the disaster movie is sort of the helplessness and like obviously Impossible is based on a true story, so you can't really it's not. They're not like turn your brain off fun. It was a terrible situation that they're in. So yeah, they have their place, but it's just not the type of disaster movie that I'm usually invested in. But I understand it's a good movie. I'll say yes. But yeah, it's just slightly.
Yeah. I've watched this last year. I think it was called one of the like that. And yeah, The Impossible is a really good movie, and it's one of those ones like it's definitely had a lot of criticisms for not being accurate, but yet there has been reports like from some of the survivors from it actually saying it is actually really accurate from that tragedy, and yeah, it's just a really good movie. And it's one of those ones that I'm surprised that it didn't get more Oscar nominations. Like the only nomination was Naomi Watts. Honestly, I think this could have been Best Picture that year, but it really wasn't. But
I think also I was just gonna say, I think also for Ewan McGregor, just on that time when he's on the phone, that alone should have got him an Oscar nomination for me.
Yeah, but it's going to be a yes for me. Austin, what do you say about The Impossible?
Yeah, this is kind of a similar situation to the Minari thing Richie talked with. Hey, you made this little Minari, drama movie. Would you like to do Twisters? And we'll give you, $150 million. It's like, hey, Jay Baona, you made this, little family drama with some disaster elements. Hey, would you like to do Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom for $200 million? Like, what does that have to do with anything? I don't know. Again, just it's weird stuff. But yeah, it's a really solid movie. Not like one of my favorite movies or anything like that. I think I've seen it twice. It's not one I go to like some of the other movies that will probably get brought up or that I will brought up. So if it goes on the list, just forewarning, I'm probably going to have it a little lower, just in the aspect of kind of ranking of disaster movies. But I'll still say yes.
So that The Impossible is going to make the list. Chad, what is the first movie you're going to bring up?
Well, we'll see how this goes. This is definitely one of my favorite movies, and I saw it in the theaters very recently and saw it in the theaters for the first time when it came out, even though I was very young. But I think it is one of the greatest disaster movies, but also one of the greatest movies of all time. But I don't know. It might be a little divisive sometimes. I'm going Titanic. And I think
it's not going to be divisive on this panel.
Okay, good. I wasn't sure. I think I know Malcolm likes it, and Stacy I think might like it, but I'm not sure. But yeah, I adore Titanic. I saw it when I was 7. Yeah, 7 or I was turning 8. Yes, I was turning 8 because it was like in theaters for so long. I saw it in 1998, even though it came out in 1997. I think that's right. But I remember seeing it. I remember being kind of blown away as a kid. But then, even more so later when I was able to kind of understand the themes and the relationship, and really get the kind of emotional impact of everything that was going on. As an adult, it really floored me when I saw it the re-release of it, and it's a long movie, but I think James Cameron was able to really blend the disaster with the romance, and it just really all hits together so well. And it's just, I don't know, this just ends up being one of my favorite movies. Talk about class and just a love story surviving that, kind of like a Romeo and Juliet type of situation. And I don't know, I'm crying at the end of it, and I adore it. So one of the biggest movies, one of the best movies, Titanic.
Richie, what do you say about Titanic?
Yeah, I also saw this one was about 8, I think. I was right. I remember going with my friend's family because my dad didn't want to sit there for 3 hours, and yet I'm the one with ADHD, not it. But yeah, like you're not gonna get. I love Titanic. I don't know whether it's like, I feel like this divisiveness of Titanic has sort of been a thing recently in the last few years. I don't know where it sort of sprung from. I don't know if it's like just cool to, kind of like be divisive to James Cameron because the Avatar movies are divisive. I don't know. But like, I think this movie is a great epic, and you kind of forget at the crux of it, it is a disaster movie because people do kind of think, oh yeah, the love story between Jack and Rose. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's it's one of the biggest well-known disaster. Tell the story of one of the most well-known disasters in in history. And it's a great movie, and there's a musical about it now.
That's not new, by the way. The musical that's been around for a very long time. I think it just came back or something because I saw it in like early 2000s.
Okay. I am curious to see how that plays out in musical form. So
I certainly hope the songs are better than the one in that animated movie with the dog, the rapping dog, the Titanic. It's party time! It's party time! It's party time! It's party time! With the boombox in 1912, because that makes sense.
Very, very tonally accurate. Yeah, like let's party when the Titanic is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say absolutely yes. I think this will be high up.
Mm-hmm.
Those that know me know that I really love I love Titanic. I think it's a great movie. And actually a bit of fun fact: what came first, Titanic the musical or Titanic the movie?
The movie.
Because I guess the musical. Now that you pose that question,
the musical came first. Musical premiered April 21st, 1997. The movie came out.
Really?
Yeah.
Nobody cared about it until after the movie.
But the Titanic ship started in 1912, so that's very much predates the musical.
But yeah, no, it's one of those ones. Like, I thought there was, but it was like I knew the musical had premiered somewhere around there. Yeah. I didn't think it was actually before the movie. So then maybe someone saw the musical movie was being made. Like, you know what? I've got an idea for a musical. Anyway, that side note is. I think the movie's great, and it really is a really great disaster movie. Well, yes, the love story is there. The main crux of the movie is the disaster element. And yes, those are an easiest for me. But Austin, what do you say about Titanic?
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, I've always, Richie knows this. I've defended this movie every time it comes up on tournament fights. And I think it's one of those things that when maybe you're a teenager or something, you go like, Titanic, nah. And then you get an adult and you're like, yeah, no, it's a good movie. Like, it's a really good movie. And I like James Cameron a lot. And I've always contended that the back half of that movie is a phenomenal disaster movie. Like, really great set pieces, really great practical stuff, the water effects, just all the stuff with the ship, like, breaking in half and all the stuff going on. Like, it's great stuff. And I've always contended that, like, if you're a fan of disaster movies, you should watch Titanic. And you can even just appreciate it on that level, much less the love story in between. So, no, 100%. It's on my list, Chad. You won't get any no's here. Jordan Anderson's on his panel, so you're safe. So I think you're good.
Stacey, what do you say about Titanic?
Yeah, no, it's a definite yes. I'm actually surprised Chad said he thinks that I might like it because I was like beyond obsessed with it. I mean, I think 18. I don't know. I was in college. I saw this movie so many times in the theater. I had a guy give me a bootleg to try to win me back of Titanic, which I played on repeat in my college dorm room. I went
Did
to
it work?
Toronto to see Sets and Costumes, which is a 12-hour drive from where I live. And I went to the musical, which, by the way, was not memorable. I can honestly remember only one part of the musical at all. So yes, I liked the movie a little bit. It's an easy yes. The music, it's so good, and it holds up so well. Like, I mean, granted, he did so much practically, so that's why. But it just still looks amazing.
Yeah,
Do you still
I
have
mean, it's not
bootleg?
I No, I don't. It was a VHS bootleg.
Yeah.
Because I had a VCR in my dorm room because I'm old as hell.
I was gonna say, what was it? The double VHS that the actual release was? I remember we had that, the
Yeah.
double VHS
No.
of Titanic. Yeah, where the break in Act
We had
One,
that.
or
Yep.
the
I mean-
first video ended with the love scene in the car,
Yes.
in the cargo ship, and then they basically opens up with them hitting the iceberg in the second half.
I
So,
did have that, like the real release of it. The
Mhm.
bootleg was on like one of those like 4 to
Super
6
VHSs.
hour tapes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was
Yeah,
an
yeah.
honest God bootleg. It was like somebody recorded it in the theater.
Yeah.
Did
But
it work winning you back?
um not by itself, but
Okay, fair enough.
eventually
Yeah.
it did not do its purpose in that moment, but I was back with the person later.
Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah.
there's someone I follow on TikTok who has been collecting Titanic on VHS. I think they've got about over 3,000 copies or something.
Yeah, I've seen people like that doing that. I saw somebody doing that for The Matrix Reloaded. I was like, that's so random.
There's a dude
Well,
I follow on YouTube. But his running joke is that he's got probably 500 copies of Babe on VHS. Chris James.
Yeah. But with that, Titanic is going to make the list. Richie, what is the first movie you're going to bring up?
Titanic 2. No, just kidding.
Hey, I've actually seen that
the
list.
great
I'll say
Asylum
that.
classic,
Watch it.
Titanic 2. I've seen it.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, no, I mean, I think Austin was going to bring this up eventually, but I'll do it as well. Because I watched this recently because I knew this was coming out, and this movie is just turn your brain off really fucking good. And I don't know, maybe I'm on a Tommy Lee Jones kick at the moment because I watched
Do it, Richie. Let's go.
I watched because I also watched that movie Three Burials, which is all right, but very different to Volcano, which is what I'm talking about. Volcano is very fun. Yeah, it's just a fun time, man. I don't know what else to say. It's just like very stupid 90s, but it's great fun, and it's got one of the best taglines of any movie. Any movie. The coast is toast. So it's great. But it's great. What more can you want? That should sell for you. There you go.
Yes. and a great poster, as we did the movie poster episode of Tournament Fights, and I got it way further than I ever thought I would on that episode. By pushing it. It's a great poster.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also actually watched Volcano for the first time for this, just because I knew it was going to come up. And yeah, I had a lot more fun than I thought I was going to have, to be honest. I actually did a double feature in the weekend of Volcano movies. The other one might come up later, but
I suspect I don't know what the double feature was, but we'll get to it.
Yeah.
Volcano's great. I actually really enjoyed it, so it's a yes for me. Awesome. What do you say about Volcano?
Oh man, this movie sucks. No, it's fucking horror. No, come on. No, dude, you guys know how much of a Volcano fan I am. I put it in the damn poster tournament. It's in my 128. I love Volcano, and I know I have an unhealthy obsession with it, but I just think it's super, super fun. Yeah, this is like like Rich is, this is like you get the biggest tub of popcorn you can, just shove it in your face the whole time. I mean, it's a ridiculous concept, a volcano that blows up in the middle of Los Angeles. Yeah, but it's Tommy Lee Jones basically doing the same role he does in Fugitive, just ordering people around. You go over here, let's do this, turn that bus upside down, let's drill a hole, let's bring buildings down on top of it. It's just great. But I mean, once it gets going, like 20-30 minutes in, it's nonstop for like an hour. Like there's nonstop action. It's really, really great. So no, I can't get enough of Volcano. I watch this movie all the time, and I just think it's an absolute blast. So no, it's an enthusiastic yes for Volcano for me. I love Volcano.
Also came out the same year as Titanic.
Sure did. It's a great year for disaster movies. There's some good ones.
I mean, 90s is great for disaster movies in general.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Stacey, what do you say about Volcano?
I mean, as far as Volcano movies go, it's probably the better of a few. I guess I haven't seen a ton of Volcano movies. I don't know if there are a ton, but I've seen a few.
There's not as many as you might think, but it's better than Pompeii.
It's definitely better than Pompeii, and the other one that I won't say because it might come up.
Or it's better than Lavalantula.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one. But yeah, so I mean, I'm not as enthusiastic about it, but I lean towards natural disaster movies, especially when someone says disaster movies. There are some others I know can fit in, like Titanic, but volcanoes should be represented on the list, and this is a very good movie to do so. So yes.
Yeah. But Chad, what do you say about Volcano?
Well, first I'll use this time to because I forgot to up top to mention that my project for today is folding shirts. However, I will say I said I was going to mention it, so I did. I haven't seen Volcano, but I'm feeling the hype, and I actually kind of really want to watch it now. So I can't say yes or no, but if it's that good, I'm excited that it's making the list, and I want to watch it.
John Carroll Lynch has an amazing death scene in that movie. It's so great. It's so good.
Spoilers.
Hey, come on. He's great. He's fodder as soon as you see him.
Volcano is going to make the list. And on for my first movie. The first movie I'm going to bring up is Asteroidageddon.
Yes. All right.
Okay.
I've seen the 1997 movie Asteroid with Michael Biehn, the 2-part TV movie. I saw that an absurd amount of times because we recorded it off a TV. If you want to bring that one up from 97 as well.
Oh no. I went to the library and looking for disaster movies. Those are I found that one and a bunch of other ones which I might reveal throughout the stream. But no. In reality, it's the one I'm bringing up is around that same vein. I'm bringing up Armageddon. I think talking about 90s disaster movies, I think Armageddon is a really great movie. I know this is one of those ones that is really divisive around the community. Like it's either you love it or you hate it, and but I love it. I think Armageddon's fun. I think Bruce Willis is great in it as well, and it's just especially like the scenes with Ben Affleck and all that. I think it's just really good. So yeah. Austin, what do you say about Armageddon?
Oh, come on. Another one that's in my 128. Of course I'm going to say yes. I love Armageddon. Armageddon, I've watched probably 200 times. Like, I find this movie incredibly rewatchable and just really great. But what makes it fun, it's not so much, the Michael Bay action. You can get that in a lot of his movies. I genuinely think the cast is a lot of fun to watch. Again, sometimes a great disaster movie is helped by a great ensemble. Everybody is somebody you recognize in this movie. I mean, literally all the way down. It's another Keith David movie. He's also in Volcano. He's in Armageddon as well. But yeah, I mean, it's a who's who of everybody. Bruce Willis, Liv Tyler, Billy Bob Thornton, Owen Wilson, Steve Buscemi, Michael Clark Duncan. I mean, just everybody who probably even Shawnee Smith from the Saw movies has a scene. Like everybody is somebody in the scene, just down to the littlest character actor. And yeah, it's a testosterone fueled, nonstop adrenaline ride. It's completely inaccurate scientifically, and I love every second of it. So yes, enthusiastic yes to Armageddon.
Stacey, what do you say about Armageddon?
Yeah, I don't think Armageddon's a good movie, but I do love it anyway.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
I may have had when this movie came out little Bruce Willis and Ben Affleck action figures from the movie, and I was like young adult, late teens. Yeah, no, this movie is just so fun. Every part of it. Like I recently I didn't rewatch it for this because I've seen it a lot. And it is 2.5 hours, which is incredible to me, but it's because I actually spend so long on the training. And one of the stories I always hear that I for me actually makes the movie even better is that Ben Affleck asked Michael Bay why they wouldn't just train the astronauts to drill instead of trying to train the drillers to be astronauts, which is a very good point. But
Shut up, Ben.
yeah, I mean, it makes it even better to me that like it's just such flawed logic. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's so cheesy at times. Like if the animal cracker scene with Ben and Liv Tyler is just like it's very cheesy, but in a fantastic way. And it gets you in the heart at the like, when Bruce is talking to Liv on the monitor and gonna sacrifice himself, like that chokes me up, even though this movie is ridiculous. And like Steve Buscemi's riding on the bomb at one point, like yet they choke me up. So that's always good. And yeah, it's a definite yes for me.
We'll have to watch it soon, Rhonda. Hint, hint. That's my girlfriend. Anyways, thanks for watching.
Any Ronda Rousey?
No, Rhonda can. No, Rhonda who just commented.
Chad, what do you say about Armageddon?
Yeah, I actually was also going to bring up the Bay telling Ben Affleck to shut the fuck up. Fun fact, because I think that does kind of like add a lot of like humor and like shrug to the ridiculousness of the movie. Honestly, I don't know if this is one I've seen since I was a kid, but I remember it being like a big movie, like a big spectacle when I was a kid. That it came out and people were like my family were never like big movie watchers, and yet Armageddon came out. They were like, we're watching that. We all watched it. I remember falling in love with I Don't Want to Miss a Thing. That's one of my favorite songs still. I love that Aerosmith song. I think that's the one that what's her face should have won an Oscar for. And now we have this curse that she's always going to get nominated and never win. And if that would have won, so now the Oscars are haunted because of I Don't Want to Miss a Thing, because that should have won for that year, not the whatever Prince of Egypt thing won. But anyways, that being said, yeah, I do think it's ridiculous, but I think it's one of these, we need like a big, dumb, fun disaster movie on here. And, we might actually, Diane Warren there, thank you. We might actually get more of those, but I think if we're gonna only have one, we should have this one. So I agree. I actually am gonna do
big dumb
an
fun
Armageddon rewatch soon.
That isn't tedious like some disaster movies I've seen. Because some
Yeah,
are big and dumb and loud, but they're tedious and painful to get through.
I agree.
So,
but Richie, what do you say about Armageddon?
Don't want to close my eyes. I want to sing. Oh, yeah. I know. Other people that are randomly in there for a bit. Eddie Griffin is a bite messenger. That was fun.
Yes.
And
William Fichtner. Yeah, I mean, just
Peter
everybody's
Stormare.
yes.
Yeah, Stormare and Judith Hogue, who was April O'Neil in the Ninja Turtles movies, just pops up in there. So yeah, it's a great cast, but yeah, I love this movie. It's so dumb, and yeah, like I knew it was going to be brought up. So yeah, absolutely, I have to be on as well. This movie's stupid, but in the right way. I just think this is before like a Michael Bay kind of. This is the right kind of Michael Bay, not taking himself too seriously, just making a dumb, fun movie that it's not boring, and it's great, and I love all the characters. So yes.
Well, Jonathan's upset that you dissed the Prince of Egypt song, Chad.
I'm sorry, Pac. I'm sorry.
Fine.
Actually, I'm not sorry.
And also, I completely forgot Armageddon's in the Criterion.
I have the Criterion DVD. Do you want me to go get it? I'll show you. I'll prove it to you. I'll get it.
Oh no,
I wish I had that.
I'll get it after I say my next thing. We'll say or the next turn.
Yeah. But Austin, what is the next movie you're going to bring out?
Yeah, I don't know how this is going to go because it's a fairly recent one that I've been championing it since it came out, and I think it's a legitimately really, really good disaster movie and one of the actor in its better movies. I'm going to bring up Greenland. Greenland is a really nice, underrated gem from a few years ago. It got kind of lost in the pandemic because it came out in 2020, so it got kind of lost in the shuffle. But I've really been championing this movie ever since I bought it from a Redbox, just flat out. So I have a Redbox DVD of Greenland. But yeah, it's really, really good Gerard Butler stuff. So it's kind of a typical setup, almost like Armageddon. There's like an asteroid coming in and some other fragments and whatnot. So there's some things going on, and they have to. As a family, they get chosen for a lottery, but they have to make their way to Greenland. Like they have to get there in order to, because they get lost in the way. There's some family stuff that happens, and they don't make their transport and whatnot. But yeah, it's Gerard Butler, Morena Baccarin from Deadpool. Vanessa from Deadpool is like his wife, and then Scott Glenn shows up later. He's really, really good. But yeah, it's actually one that focuses a little heavier on the actual family drama, but in a great way. Like the script is really good. You really understand the characters, but also some great action bits and disaster stuff thrown in there. There's a great sort of sequence in the woods under this bridge that's really good. There's some legitimately good disaster stuff, and not even a huge budget movie. And it all looks really great. So yeah, it's an underrated one. I've really been trying to champion since it comes out, especially for people who are kind of 50-50 on Gerard Butler or even disaster movies in general, because of the family stuff is so good in it. So yeah, I'll shoot my shot. I don't know how many people have seen it. I know at least one person on the panel has seen it. I don't know about everybody else, but yeah, Greenland.
Stacey, what do you say about Greenland?
So I watched this this week for today. I was so surprised by how good this was.
Mm-hmm.
It had a lot of elements that you don't normally see, a lot of little things that I think were so on point and realistic if ever there was to be a disaster like this. And I can speak to it. I don't know. I felt like Austin was kind of avoiding spoilers, so maybe I won't.
I was kind of tiptoeing just because, again, it's kind of an under, I assume almost everybody who's seen movies have seen like Armageddon or Twister or something like that. Greenland is like, again, because it's recent too. So that's all it is.
So I won't say specifics, but there are a number of things that happened in this movie that I thought, why is this situation not brought up more? Because this would happen this way. Like these things would happen. So yeah, I thought it was really good. I thought the family stuff was really good. Obviously, there was elements that I thought were very realistic for a disaster movie. I mean, how realistic can you be? So it's an easy yes. I was probably going to bring it up eventually. So I'm glad that you did.
Hey, awesome.
Chad, what do you say about Greenland?
This is yet another one I haven't seen. So Austin, hit one who hasn't seen it. But I remember seeing the poster a lot. So hey, now another one to add to the list. But I have to abstain.
Richie, what do you say about Greenland?
Yeah, this I got to this again for this, and this movie rules. You would think that like it's easy to write this movie off as like just because around this time Jared Butler would do sort of these these sort of cheap sort of action movies, and that were inoffensive, but they're nothing to write home about. But yeah, this is not that. It's really good, and showed that he's got chops, and it's just great building tension, and it's a very surprising film. So I was going to bring it up eventually too if Austin didn't start to say yes.
I haven't seen this since it came out. This is one of those ones I was considering rewatching if I had the time, but I just didn't get around to it. I remember being a bit lower on it than others, so I probably would have given it a slight no, but it's still going to make the list regardless of what I say. And there's actually going to be a sequel to this coming out as well, Greenland Migration.
Yeah.
But Greenland makes the list. Stacey, what is the next movie?
It's going to be a weird prequel to that duck movie, Migration.
So I'm gonna
with your favorite Aquafina.
Here. I'm gonna pick my decisive, very dumb, very bad, but very fun movie, It's the most Roland Emmerich thing to ever Roland
I know where
Emmerich,
you're going.
and it is Moonfall.
Oh
And
no, you went the wrong way. Oh
No.
no,
you know
no,
what?
no.
Fine if it doesn't go through, but I have to bring it up. I have to, because it's bad. Like, I'm not going to pretend this is a good movie in any way, shape, or form. It is not a good movie, but it is so crazily over the top. It has every possible cause of a disaster in it, because Roland Emmerich funded it himself. He couldn't get funding, and he just was like, well, everything I like to do, I'm just going to do it all at once. And it just keeps getting crazier and crazier as it goes, and more ridiculous. And you either laugh and have fun and roll with it, or it's the worst thing you've ever seen. And I chose, well, I mean, I don't really get to choose. I either laugh or I don't. But I laugh and have fun and I roll with it. I didn't have to rewatch it for this because I've seen it at least 3 times since it came out in theaters a couple of years ago. Because yeah, it is just the epitome of big dumb fun to me, and so bad it's good. I won't say too much because a lot of people haven't seen it, and I'm sure this endorsement will make them run out. But literally, like, I can't. Zombies are the only world-ending disaster missing. Okay, if there was zombies in it, I think it would be absolutely everything I could think of. So yeah, Moonfall. Vote it down. It's fine. Roland Emmerich has other things that I would vote for, but I have to talk about it.
Jade, what do you say about Moonfall?
Well, this could also be a spoiler alert for like the list ranking for other movies coming up, but I've never seen, unless there's one I'm forgetting, I've never seen a Roland Emmerich film that I've liked. So and Stacy admitted this one's really bad, and Armageddon just has a nostalgia factor. That's why I said yes to that one. So I'm gonna give a blind no to this.
Richie, what do you say about Moonfall?
The reason Roland Emmerich had to bankroll this film is because no studio will give him money because his movies keep bombing. Yeah, he did Midway before this movie, and that movie was boring as shit. This movie just sucks. He just I'm gonna throw all the substance at the wall, and there's I don't know how you can make these movies like. I don't know, like I don't know. I'm glad you had fun, Stacey. I just I did. I just it was just not fun dumb. Like one I genuinely thought you were gonna bring up, which I would have definitely said yes to. Hopefully it comes up later. But yeah, yeah. I know. I don't feel like Roland Emmerich has lost his touch, and that's why he's been banished to TV. He's doing a TV thing now. So yeah, there's a couple of others that I don't know. Maybe. You never know, it could be mentioned some honorable mentions that are also bad. Like, I want disaster movies to be good, but I don't think he's the go-to now. If you want bad disaster movies, you go to him. So yeah, I'm gonna say no.
Yeah, this is one I actually was considering rewatching for this if I had time, because I do remember having some kind of fun with it. It ended up low on my thing, but then it was like, surely no one's going to bring it up, so I didn't. So yeah, unfortunately, it's going to be a slight no as well. So Moonfall is going to make the list. But Chad, we go back to you. What was the next movie?
Stacey, I thought.
Oh, sorry.
No, just look. In your build-up, I could have sworn you were building up to say 2012, and I would have actually been with you, because that might be the most Roland Emmerich movie ever made, and I could roll with that because that may be his masterpiece of dumb popcorn nonsense. But like Moonfall hurts my brain. There's exposition in this movie that just I feel stupider as I listen to it. The twists in this movie are one really stupid twist after another. It's aliens composed of AI. Like, what are we doing? Like, I can't. I can roll with the bad movie. Richie knows this. Like, we'll bond over bad, like dumb movies, and do podcasts about or whatever. But like, I can't roll with this one. This movie is terrible, and I have a dozen other movies I would gladly put on this list, and some of them are really stupid, and I'd be happy to put them on there. Armageddon is stupid, but like that's fun stupid. I can't roll with Moonfall. I'm so sorry, but if you had said 2012, I might have rolled with you on that one actually.
Looking at the cast, I think Halle Berry is probably the bigger name this list a lot. You got Patrick Wilson as well, but I don't know if he's.
I have
Patrick
an allergy to Josh Gad too, so that
Yeah.
doesn't help.
Patrick Wilson also says yes to everything, and he's also in a lot of Robert Roland films.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Halle Berry, it doesn't is also in a lot of like low budget stuff these days. So I mean, like not low budget, but she says she's not hard to get these days.
Yeah. Okay. But Chad, what is the next movie you're going to bring up?
This is this is tough. I'm looking over my list and I'm like, kind of like what Stacy was talking about, like with, what kind of disasters haven't we brought up? And I'm looking over and there's so many that I could say right now. And this potentially could be the last time I bring something up. But I'm going to go with something maybe a little, because Malcolm did say any type of disaster. So I'm going to go with something I think that is a little different. And it might be kind of underrated, an underrated horror gem. And we've actually brought this up when we were talking about opening scenes, but not this specific one, but one earlier in the franchise. And I'll bring up Final Destination. But first, I'll throw out Austin. Are you bouncing it?
I'm bouncing it. It's not a disaster movie.
Okay, then can I bring up something else?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Final Destination has one plane crash, but it's not like a center of a thing or part of a larger disaster. It's a contained one just accident, and the rest of the movie is a Rube Goldberg happening to one person. I'm gonna bounce any of the Final Destination movies. I'm gonna bounce.
Although that being said, I would buy a Final Destination in which each death is caused by a different disaster.
Well, yeah, but like having a household accident is not a disaster.
Well, yeah, no, I know what you mean. But I mean, if they were
pulling a knife rack down and a knife stab,
it's
not a disaster. Like, what are we doing? Like,
I wasn't trying to defend the choice, but I was saying if they were to do a sequel to Final Destination in which they had each death in there caused by like an earthquake or a flood or something.
Right.
Yeah. But,
okay. This I don't know if this is unprecedented or not, but Austin has bounced it, so it's gone. I can't talk about it.
If you need context, Stacey, I've been referred to multiple times the bouncer of bullshit on this show.
Okay.
So Chad sometimes tries to sneak some weird things in there, and I'm like, no.
All right. Well, then the next one I'm going to bring up, and we'll see if Austin's okay with this. Is Stacey brought up zombies, so I'll throw in a zombie movie. Now, which one? There's a lot to choose from, and I know there's a lot of class.
Zombie movies are not disaster movies.
There's one that is. I don't know if it's the one Chad's going to say, but there's one that is.
There are a lot that are. I mean, it's kind of a disaster, people rising up. But I'll throw out something else that's more conventional. I'll go Gravity.
There you go.
So there you go. So I'll go something that's more conventional for a disaster pick, but this is one I truly do love. I saw this in the theater and it made me like almost sick, but in like a good way where it's like, holy shit, like I got to hold on to something right now because, she's swinging after all the debris hits. It happens kind of very unexpectedly. And then you got to hold on to something and not freak out. I think it was in 3D when I saw it. So it was like a really like crazy experience. And I've seen it since at home, especially for a show I do called Picture This, where I think I put this one as my number one because I think it is fantastic. And I think it did deserve its Best Picture nomination. Because I think the disastrous elements of it are great. I just love seeing Sandra Bullock try to maneuver herself. Like, she's stranded out there in space. She's got to let go of George Clooney at one point, which is terrifying to think about, just drifting into space and that's it. You're just done. And with her like trying to use all this, her like scientific know-how and the little bit of information she got from George Clooney, has to find her way, into all these things. Things happen, like the ship explodes at one point and then more debris comes out. It's just like wild. There's jump scares in this. It's a really wild time, but there's also some depth in it. Like when she's, just afraid, like her daughter died, and she's, doesn't she wants to like let go of things and just doesn't really want to. At one point, she's just kind of like, maybe I'll just die, and then she finds the will to keep going. And I love that she does end up. Spoiler alert: she does end up making it. And when she's on the beach, just like safe, you're like, you just can exhale then, and you're just like, holy shit, it's over, but in a good way. Like, she made it. Our hero made it to the beach and made it back to Earth. So yeah, it's very, very scary movie, but very great, and I love it. So and the effects still hold up. So Gravity.
Richie, what do you say about Gravity?
Well, I mean, if I hadn't seen, I don't need to see it anymore because Chad explained on it. No, but yeah, no. I mean, this is we went all around twists and turns there, and we ended up at Gravity, which is that's something I'd definitely not controversial. I'd say yes to because again, you're lucky Jordan Anderson's not on the panel.
He's not a fan of Gravity either. Yes, for whatever reason.
The movie, not the concept.
I'm not a fan of the concept, by the way.
Yeah. Fuck you, Isaac Newton, you dick. Anyway, but yeah, and neither is my dog apparently. So Gravity's all right. But yeah, I would say yes. This movie rules. I think it's deserving of the best picture nod. And yeah, again, probably like Titanic, I probably rate it quite highly. So, yeah, I'll say yes.
Yeah, we know.
Talking about Austin being a bouncer, I do remember this one.
Because it's not a game show.
Okay.
Yeah, I just haven't seen Gravity. It's been one that I've been wanting to get to. I think I kind of over thought of it. I think I've talked myself out of it because I wasn't too sure if it was considered a disaster movie or not. But Austin, what do you say about Gravity?
Yeah, no, 100% yes. I think Gravity's great. I rewatched it again fairly recently. I don't remember what it was for. I think it was for me and Jacob, a podcast about movies for last year because it was turning 10. Yeah, and I saw it in IMAX 3D when it came out. It looked amazing. Yeah, it still holds up effects wise. And yes, this is a space disaster movie. It's about a space mission gone wrong, and then it becomes a survival movie. So yes, I will not bounce Gravity. Gravity is well, you can bounce things with Gravity to a degree, but Gravity is excellent. Depending on how light and the density, it's a whole math problem. But yes, I love Gravity. I like a good survival movie as well, and yeah, it's a tight 90 minutes. It just is nonstop from like 10 minutes in, and yeah, I really enjoy Gravity. So I'll give a yes to Gravity.
Stacey, what do you say about Gravity?
I haven't seen it. I didn't know that it was considered a disaster movie, to be honest with you. So, I probably would have watched it prior to this had I known that, but it's going through regardless of me, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Sorry for the spoilers, and still watch it because you'll love it. It's about the journey. Okay.
Yeah, you already knew that he survived and landed on the beach. That's not a new spoiler.
But Richie, we're going to go to you next. Was the next movie?
Cool. I'm also gonna just punt for this because it's underrated and I don't know if it's underseen, but I think it's worth talking about because it's great. I'm going to bring up. I think the movie came out in 2018, 2019. I'm going to bring up Crawl, which is it's a alligator movie about, but like it's alligators coming to the. But basically there's floods in Florida. And that's and then there's just and it's basically Kaya Scudero trying to basically not get save yourself from drowning or not or get eaten by alligators the whole time. And Barry Pepper's in it as well. He's really good. It is directed by Alexander Aja, who's actually has low-key good filmography. The film looks really good. It's acted really well, and it has great tension. It's just a really good film. So I'm gonna bring up Crawl.
I've seen Crawl once. I like the movie. I think it's good. It's one of those ones because I'm pretty sure I've seen Barry Pepper's name pop up on a few other disaster movies I watched for this. Because, but yeah, but Cool I think is an interesting movie. I honestly don't remember too much about it. It's been a while since I actually did watch it. But I'm just going to give it a slight no, but I think I know where this might go. Austin, what do you say about Cool?
I'm torn on Crawl because I didn't consider it. I didn't have it on my list, and it is a disaster movie because the hurricane and the flooding is kind of the crux of the movie and what allows the gators to kind of get in there, and then they're both battling the gators and not drowning in the house. So that definitely counts. I like Crawl. I don't know if I love Crawl. Like even in Alexander Aja's filmography, it's one of the lower ones for me just because I don't find it terribly rewatchable because there's not a lot of density to it. It's a decent kind of father-daughter relationship and whatnot. It's okay. I mean, they do both get mauled in that movie. I mean, they've got broken bones and flesh missing and they're bleeding all over the place. Like, they don't come out of that movie unscathed. So I appreciate the horror aspects of it. It's just not one of my go-tos. So it's not an indication of the movie. I think it's a good movie and people should check it out. As far as this list, I'm going to give it a slight no. So I apologize, Richie, but it wasn't one of the first ones that came to mind for this list.
But Stacey, what do you say about Cool?
You talk about animal attack movies, like a different subject? I might go with you, maybe. Something like that. Because I consider it more of an animal attack movie than a disaster movie, so to speak. So, yeah.
This is another one I have not seen and did not realize was considered a disaster movie. So it would be a no from me because.
Chad, what do you say about Cool?
Wait, what did Malcolm say?
I said no.
Okay, so I can't put it through anyways. But I was also kind of like Austin, kind of on the fence because I'm like, one of the greatest disaster movies. I'm not so sure, but I actually really, really do like Crawl. And I will say, I'm gonna throw out a spoiler. It's just a slight one. It's because I love this movie at the end because the dog makes it. So if you're ever watching this movie and you have anxiety about that, I'm like, yes, okay, finally, a horror movie that doesn't just kill the animal because why not, right? I that's one of my things about horror that I absolutely hate. But I will say I do think this movie has a lot of tension. It does it really well. It's shot really well. I think a lot of the kills are really cool, and the sequences with the storm and how it incorporates it is really cool. So I totally get why Richie brought this up. But I can't put it through anyways, but I was on the fence. I might have given it a slight yes.
It is preposterous that the dog made it, though. It's tiny. Maybe the alligator thought the dog was cute or something.
They did it for me.
Mm.
No, funny enough, I actually wanted to look up Alexander Aja's filmography. He's actually got a movie coming out this year called Never Let Go, which stars Halle Berry. Yeah, speaking of, but anyway, it's on to me. I'm going to bring up this one, and I know at least what one person's going to say about this because he was the person that put me onto this movie in the first place. And it's The Towering Inferno. And yeah, this is a great movie. Like we talked about this when we did 70s action movies, and this is just one of those movies which is a really good disaster movie, and it's just one of those ones like just the suspense of them getting the people out of this high-rise building and that, and the people who are skeptical is like, oh yeah, no, this will be fine. We can withstand this fire. It's like pretty much similar kind of plot to Titanic in a way. But yeah, I think Town Inferno is a great disaster movie. But Austin, I'm sure you're going to say no to this.
No, come on. Yeah, we talked about this on the 70s action thing that you had me on. Yeah, I mean, I'm the guy who loves these crazy, long, insanely ensemble 70s disaster movies. Yeah, again, because it was all practical stuff back then. Some really good fire effects here. Yeah. I mean, I don't mind having this movie on there. Yeah, these ensembles were nuts. I mean, it's Paul Newman, Steve McQueen, William Holden, Faye Dunaway, Fred Astaire, Richard Chamberlain, Robert Vaughn, Robert Wagner, and the great O.J. Simpson. Rest in peace. No, I'm just kidding. but he's also in there. Playing a football player, by the way, I think, in the movie. Yeah, I mean, it's a crazy, nutty movie. It takes a little while to get going, but really once it does, it's kind of nonstop from once it gets going. It's just because those movies were just a little longer back then. But yeah, I dig those 70s disaster movies, and yeah, I think we had on the list for the action movie thing, right?
Yeah. It made the list.
Yeah, no, it's good stuff. So I'm going to say yes to the Towering Inferno.
Stacey, what do you say about the Towering Inferno?
I did know that this was a disaster movie, but I actually haven't seen it. I did consider watching it for today, but just with limited time to watch with its runtime and it not being like the most interesting thing to me as far as just like things I wanted to see. I didn't get to watch it. If I didn't go to Boston to the Comic-Con yesterday, I may have gotten to watch it, but I did go to Boston. So it's a no, but only because I haven't seen it.
Chad, what do you say about the Towering Inferno?
I did actually watch this for my picture this show because it was nominated for Best Picture, and I wasn't on the same wavelength as you guys. I kind of hated this one. There is another 70s disaster movie that I really like, but this isn't one that I enjoyed. I expected it to be more like the other one. And I think like this is like probably where stuff like Die Hard comes from. So it's definitely got its like influence and all that, but like I gave it like a 1 star, my lowest ranked. I don't know. I just didn't vibe with this one like at all. So I'll give it a no.
Richie, what do you say about Towering Inferno?
I'm not gonna give it 1 star. I'm not gonna make a reminder. No. I think it's good. I don't know. I'm not as high on it as maybe you or Austin are, but I think it's still good and worthy of this list. So I'll probably put it in the mid. It probably like land in the middle for me when you do the ranking, but I do like it, so I'd say yes.
That Towering Inferno is going to make the list. Austin, we go back to you for your next nomination.
Look, if we're gonna have one Roland Emmerich movie, it's got to be when he was in his prime in the 90s. Godzilla. Just kidding. No, not Godzilla. No, that movie doesn't exist. Come on, it's got to be Independence Day. Like, it's one of the great spectacles and big blockbusters ever made. And yeah, it's alien caused disaster. It's in the disaster film Wikipedia, so it's there. But which is a real thing, by the way. I didn't make that up. But no, I watched this movie so many times. Had it on VHS. Had that VHS hologram cover where you turned it one way and the White House was on fire, and you turned it the other way and it was fine. Really great stuff. But yeah, again, another amazing ensemble cast. This one's Bill Pullman, Chad Webb, not Twister.
I know.
So he's in that one. But again, everybody who shows up is like somebody you recognize and really great. And it was when Roland Emmerich could like really build tension and had good characters and a decent script behind him. I think the first hour of this movie is one of the best like build-ups to a disaster I think I've ever seen. Like, it just the way people are kind of handling it and the preparations that are being made and kind of the reaction to everything. I think it's really great. And even the stuff later on, with the planes and all the attacks and whatnot across the globe were a lot of fun. So yeah, if we're gonna have like one Emmerich on here, like let's go when like we actually we're kind of invested in them. I'll go with Independence Day.
Stacey, what do you say about Independence Day?
I'm so glad that you brought it up because I was having a real tough time deciding between this and something else for my next choice. Okay. Yes, obviously Independence Day is a much better Roland Emmerich disaster film. I just had to shoot my shot with Moonfall, okay?
I can respect it. I've shot my shot for stuff on this show before. I can respect it.
So Independence Day, I think was 96, maybe 97. I think 96. I saw this opening day in theaters, which I believe might have been July 4th, actually. And it was back in the day when you didn't pre-order tickets. And so I went like first thing in the morning to buy like a row of tickets for me and all my friends. And then we went back at like 10 o'clock at night to see the movie, which the movie theater is not super close. So that was a big deal. No, this movie's great. It's so much fun. It was one of the first times I can think of ever seeing the destruction of monuments on such a large epic scale in anything. I loved, like you were talking about the first hour, I loved the people on the roofs welcoming the aliens, the like idiots who are just like, yes, beam me up. Like it was just so realistic in the worst way. The dog makes it in this one too. And that scene when they're in like I didn't rewatch this. I've seen it a lot.
I could tell you whatever it is. I could tell you. I'm sure I've seen it a million times.
It's like the compound thing towards the end, the base, and they have one of the aliens alive behind the glass, and it's like filled with all the fog and the smoke, and you see the silhouette. Like that is just there's just so much tension and suspense. Even though I've seen it a million times, it's still just such a good scene, and it's not doing a whole lot. It's not like there's a ton of things going on or a lot of special effects or gore or anything like that, but it is just so creepy intense anyway. And when the aliens using the guy to talk, it's just so good. It is the epitome of alien disaster movies. So yeah, it's definitely a yes.
Chad, what do you say about Independence Day?
Yeah, like I said, there's no Roland Emmerich movies that I like. So this is one that I've never gotten on this wavelength. I don't like. I do think like the way the stuff is filmed and stuff is is pretty good and stuff like that. But I think as an overall movie, I don't like it. I just don't think it really works all that well. I do think like the iconic speech is cool, but other than that, like
which is the alien in space. Come on.
Every time I no, it's okay. Every time I try to get into this movie, I'll start it and then I'll just like check out like immediately. So I just need to like sink into it a little bit at one point and then finally like watch it all the way through again. And then maybe I'll end up liking it. It's not, crazier things have happened. So, but yeah, I'm not mad if it makes the list because I know a lot of people love this one. So. But I'll abstain. No, I'll say no.
Just dying. Hang on.
What do you say about Independence Day?
Yeah, no. I'll say yes. I love this. I had that VHS with the hologram thing. Yeah, it's a great, fun, turn your brain off movie. Yeah, but when I thought, Roland Emmerich was new, kind of build tension but also have fun. So it's great, and I want to say yes because I know your opinion of it. So just ready. So I want to get this through. So yes.
Yeah. I don't like. Look, if I'd thought of this as it is, if I'd thought of this as a disaster movie. Goldie disaster movie Wikipedia like Austin did, I might have rewatched it for this, just see if I do have a change of opinion, but I didn't, so I didn't. But I'm not a fan. I do like it more than Moonfall though. I'll put that out there.
So what, Richie? What Malcolm's saying is, when we get to the ranking part, he's going to hold on that for his number. He's going to hold on that on his board for a while until until it gets way further down the list. Yeah.
But the Independence Day is going to make the list. Stacey, what is your next nomination? We've got 3 spots.
I kind of feel like I should have just said more good things about Independence Day now, but so I was trying to decide between there was 2 glaring omissions for certain disasters. One was Aliens, so I'm very glad that Austin picked that, and the other one is Disease. So for my money, the best virus movie, and I won't go the zombie route, even though I kind of want to, just because I think it is a disaster movie, but there's a better one, and it is Contagion. I know everybody watched this. over the pandemic. It's a Matt Damon movie. I watched it a long time ago. It is so good, and the cast is great, but the way the virus spreads and the way people react to it is so good. I didn't rewatch it, and I haven't seen it super recently or as much as some of the other ones, but I think the whole plot line with Kate Winslet is fantastic and very realistic and doesn't happen enough in movies about contagions and viruses, like the fact that she gets sick and everything. I just think that is what would happen. I mean, no matter how cautious you are, you deal with something that much, you're most likely going to get it. The Matt Damon with his daughter and the prom scene just gets me every single time. It always hits me in the feels. It always chokes me up. I think it's like the sweetest thing. And the way they portray his daughter being a teenager in that situation with like her boyfriend and everything, I think is really good. And yeah, I just think it's a great disaster virus movie.
Richie, what? No,
Chad,
Chad, what do you say about Contagion?
Hey, no, just kidding. Honestly, it's been such a long time since I've seen this. I mean, I think I remember liking it when I watched it as like, a kid or whatever. But uh, I don't know. I can't be too positive. I can't be too negative. I have to be like right in the middle. So I don't know. I mean, I think this probably should make it from like reception and what Stacy said. So I'll give it a slight yes, sure.
Richie, what do you say about Contagion?
Yeah, I like Contagion. I thought there was another one you were going to bring up, which I like a bit better, and it's not Outbreak. I thought it was better than Outbreak. I do find it weird. Like it's a
I
weird.
don't know why you like Virus with Jamie Lee Curtis so much, but it's fine.
I mean, you might fight me on whether it was a disaster. Maybe, I don't know. But there's this it's a weird psychological thing where, like, during the height of the pandemic, the two most watched films were this and Outbreak. It's like, what are you doing? It's so weird. It's weird. Like I don't want to. I don't even think about it. And people are like, no, I want to watch. I want to be sad. But yeah, this movie is great. I do like this movie a lot. It has a weird eclectic cast. Like Dimitri Martin's in this movie for some reason.
And he's not like being funny. He's just in the suit the whole time, just like playing around in a lab. Like he doesn't even have that many lines. It's just like what?
Yeah.
So, yeah, right, Fern. I know he's not that funny. I know it's weird.
He's not
right?
that funny. I don't even know why he's in this movie.
Yeah.
What his agent just said? Yeah, you got to do this movie. So yeah, I will say yes, Fern. I will say yes. I'll say yes to Contagion. Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as you don't eat me.
Yeah.
Don't give me a dog Contagion. Don't bite my hand.
Yeah, I mean, I like Contagion. It's no Contamination Virus 21 though.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Funny enough, this is actually not an asylum movie. It's virtual world pictures. But no, I think Contagion is a good movie. I think it's fun. And yeah, and funny enough, I actually did not watch this during the pandemic. I actually watched it like a couple of years later.
Same.
Because the last thing I wanted to do in a pandemic is watch a movie about a pandemic.
Yeah, see, it's that silly. I mean, I did watch 12 Monkeys, but that's not really about it's just set during the pandemic. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's still going to be a yes for me as well. Austin, what do you say about Contagion?
No, I'm glad Stacey brought this up. Yeah, it's on my list. I think there should be like a medical disaster movie on this list. And if you'd said Outbreak, I might actually say no. I don't like Outbreak as much as Contagion. I think Contagion is just a better executed movie, just overall, in the details that it goes through. Yeah, in the ensemble cast. I think it's one of Steven Soderbergh's better movies. And yeah, it plays almost like a horror movie, with all the people getting sick around it and the abandoned streets and almost kind of a post-apocalyptic sort of vibe to it. And yeah, it might be pretty accurate if we had a virus that had what in the movie it's like a 60 or 70% mortality rate or whatever it is when you get it, something like that. That if that ever happened, that would be pretty disastrous. So no, I think Contagion is great, and I've always championed that it's a really, really good movie. So yeah, I'll say yes to Contagion.
That Contagion is going to make the list. Chad, we go back to you. There's 2 spots left.
Yeah, I was a little torn on a few different ones, and now I'm actually trying to think about like other kind of types of disasters. So I'm gonna go with one that I don't. It's a pretty recent movie. I think it came out like what, last year, the year before. It was, yeah, 2 years ago. But I think the disaster is kind of unique, and it's a rescue mission. And I'll bring it up. 13 Lives. So if you guys remember that movie, yeah,
Oh
okay.
yeah.
So Austin's not bouncing it. Good. All right, I'll talk about it.
No, it is a natural, like, it's people. It's more of a survival movie, but there is a natural
Yeah.
disaster element to it because there is they are fighting floods and trying to escape and whatnot. So it's on the border, but I'll say yes. I won't bounce it.
Sure. Okay. So I'll talk about it real quick. The reason why I like this one so much is because I don't know. I mean, I've scuba dived before, so I think it's a really interesting hobby. But like thinking about like these the soccer team trapped, like miles and miles down into this cave that's flooded, and to see people come in and like volunteer to risk their lives to go in and save these kids, and some of the coaches and stuff are in there too, and just like seeing like what it took for them to get, it's just some wild shit, just thinking about them putting these people under like anesthesia to basically carry them underwater for a long time while scuba diving, and then having to expertly find their way through this dark water while doing that. I just think it's an excellent like rescue mission movie, and I understand it's like on the brink of like counting as a disaster movie, but I think sometimes that makes like the most interesting ones are the ones that are a little bit on the fringes, that's like, well, this is just a different type of disaster, and it just so happens that there's a rescue attempt, and it's not a complete tragedy, even though it really could have been. Like, the stakes are there, and it's a real life thing, so that adds a little bit more of excitement to the movie too. And if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it.
Richie, what do you say about 13 Lives?
Yeah, this is one of the was it 4 or 5 Colin Farrell movies that he did that were really good in this year that I didn't get around to checking out. But I know there was like a couple of movies about this about the soccer team and the disaster there. I would probably, it's splitting hairs, but I'd probably consider it more of a survival thing. But it's sort of it
is listed on IMDb under the genre things. It says disaster docudrama survival. So it is absolutely
okay. Yeah, I guess splitting hairs. Just I sort of, it's very similar to. I mean, I don't know if you'll ever be able to check this out because the availability will be limited. But there's an Australian movie called Beaconsfield where those two workers trapped in this in this minefield, a kind of similar situation, and then so they made a movie about that, and I just sort of I consider it more that ilk of like a story of survival, but I guess it's a murky area where it is that they can be one and the same kind of thing. But like again, moot point because I haven't seen it, but I do want to check it out though. I've heard good things.
I have seen this, and I do like it enough. For me, I'm just going to say a slight no. I think there's other things that to me are more of a like disaster movie. Like, not saying that this isn't. Just saying that to me, there's more stuff that more of a disaster movie than this. And I wasn't that high on it either. But I mean, it is interesting that the production of this, so they leaped on the chance to do this movie. Like, I think the production started. I think it was the first announced in 2020. It's like that, which was 2 years after the rescue happened. So But Austin, what do you say about 13 Lives?
Yeah, no, I just forgot to put this on the list, Chad, and I didn't really think about it at first, but this, Chad, was actually in my top 10 of 2022. I love this movie.
Nice.
I loved this movie. I remember watching it, and I was interested because I was like, oh, Ron Howard's got like a movie about this thing. I didn't even really know the true story that much. I knew of it, but I didn't know how it ended, essentially. So you know how they got him out and whatnot. And yeah, I was on the edge of my seat the whole movie. I loved it. I remember I had to go to work like halfway through the movie, and I was bummed that I had to stop and and then come back and watch it the next day because I was just so invested in it. But yeah, I love this movie enough to put it in my top 10 of that year. I just kind of omitted it just because I forgot about it when I was putting together my list. So no, this movie's great. I would have loved to have seen it in the theater. It went straight to Amazon, and this movie would have played great in the theater with all the claustrophobic stuff and you know the tension-filled kind of swimming scenes and whatnot. So, but yeah, this movie's great. I'll say yes.
Stacey, what do you say about 13 Lives?
Unfortunately, I have not seen it. I want to see it now, and I originally thought Chad was going with a different movie that I would have said yes to, but I haven't seen enough to bring it up myself. But yeah, I haven't seen this one, so I have to say no. But you're selling it very well.
Thanks.
But yeah, my dog is all upset 13 Lives is not making the list. But should we go to you for your next nomination? What are you going to bring up?
See, this is where it's hard because I'm like, if Austin considered this a disaster movie or anything, I think he would have brought this up by now. 28 Days Later.
No,
That's not the zombie movie I've been talking about.
I thought it's like a virus starts it though, right? And anyway,
no.
okay.
It's not like if it's gonna be a disaster, it needs to be more like a procedural kind of thing when it comes to medical stuff and zombies. That is just to me. 28 Days Later is just a straight up like pretty much a zombie movie. Like I just don't classify zombie movies as disasters because then you go down a rabbit hole of like, well, we classify Night of the Living Dead as a disaster movie. Like, what are we doing? You know, like I just don't go down that rabbit hole because I just don't think it counts. I just don't think it does.
Yeah. I mean, just quickly on that note, when I was looking up the list, like I think the only zombie movie that I ever saw on the list was World War Z.
That's the one. That's the one.
Not I'm going to bring it up, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, in that case, I don't know where this will go because, I mean, because like this was sort of around the time where that it's like the studio had one, so we're gonna have one. But I'll bring it up. I'm gonna bring up just trying to work out which one to bring up because they're both sort of same quality in my eyes. But I'll bring up Deep Impact. I think I actually I don't mind this movie. It's just like I think it's it's a really good really good disaster movie. But yeah, I only sort of got to it got to it sort of recently after knowing about it for ages. But yeah, I think the sort of the constant sort of the looming threat of of something sort of hitting Earth. Obviously that's gonna it's gonna play on your mind, and I feel like we don't have that. I mean, we don't have that kind of disaster on this list yet. There is another one. Maybe I'd bring up an honorable mention. That's a kind of a different type of disaster movie that's a bit off the field that I didn't want to bring up. But I think the cast is all great. I think I think Elijah Wood's good in this. And Morgan Freeman, Tia Leone. Like it's not like something I'd rate like highly when it comes to ranking, but I just think it's one worth bringing up. So I'll go Deep Impact. But...
Yeah, I don't know what it is with these disaster movies bringing in this whole concept of a lottery chest for people to be saved.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually can't remember what one was now, but there was another one earlier that someone brought up.
Greenland has a lottery in it.
Yeah, okay, that's all.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
He gets a phone call. That one. It's not like a televised thing. It's like an automated message.
yeah. But yeah, I actually watched this for the first time this week. And I do think it's pretty good. Like it's I think it's just one of those ones that it's definitely well acted. And even the suspense I think is great as well. Just but yeah, it's but ultimately there's others that I've got higher that I think should make it on this list over it. So I'm going to give this a slight no. Austin, what do you say about Deep Impact?
So when I watched Armageddon again like a few months ago, I was like, man, I haven't seen Deep Impact in a minute, and I have it on Blu-ray and I popped it in. Man, this movie's just vastly inferior to Armageddon. I'm sorry, this movie bores me. It was a slog to get through. I think the space stuff with the Robert Duvall crew is way inferior to the Armageddon stuff and all the bombastic stuff. Even though you got Robert Duvall and like Jon Favreau's in there, like it's there's recognizable people. I think the characters just aren't as interesting. I think they're all kind of putting around and kind of boring. Taya Leone annoys me. Is in this movie. I can't get behind her. I was ready for her to just die. Sorry to be cruel, but she's not. She annoys me. I think the best thing it has going for it is Morgan Freeman as the president, but it doesn't really pick up for me till they actually like stuff starts hitting at the end. I just think Deep Impact it's not as exciting. To me, it's just the inferior Armageddon. So I can't say yes. I have to say no.
Stacey, what do you say about Deep Impact?
I'm torn because I'm pretty neutral on Deep Impact, and there's not a whole ton of movies that I'm like still I think need to be on the list. But at the same time, it's an asteroid movie. Armageddon's an asteroid movie. Greenland's an asteroid movie. Like, do we need another asteroid movie? Not really. So I think I'm gonna say no.
Chad, what do you say about Deep Impact?
I was gonna say, I guess this movie didn't leave a very deep impact on Austin, but
no. I tell you what, it did do. It left a deep impact on my couch as I was falling asleep, and a nice crater in there. So yeah.
That being said, yeah, this is one of the big ones I still haven't seen, and maybe I won't put it on the watch list anytime soon.
It's weird shit, Richie. Elijah Wood's like 15, and he's getting married to Lily Sobieski, so he can like take her with her to the compound. I'm like, that's weird, dude.
And his parents
like, that's weird.
And chase
They're like, yes, go get married to
her.
Elijah Wood. Yeah, y'all are just friends from school. Like, go ahead, go get married. Like, it's weird. I'm sorry. There's weird stuff that creeped me out in that movie too. Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's weird.
Back to me, this is tough because there's at least 4 I want to bring up. 2 I don't think will have a chance of getting on, and one I think might come up later. I'm going to bring up this one because I watched it for the first time for this, and well, yeah, it's another volcano movie, but I'm bringing up Dante's Peak. This is one of those ones that that I didn't know what to think of before I started watching it, but like when I was watching it, it's great. Like just even just the volcano stuff itself, I think it's great with Pierce Brosnan just trying to go, look, take me seriously. Like you need to do something now, otherwise it will get to a point where you can't do anything about it. And it's just like suspense, like, and even the scene where like the kids decipher whatever infinite wisdoms, like drive up to go get their grandmas, and
Grandma
and
doesn't have a great time in that movie.
not at all.
No.
And I mean, even Pierce Brosnan and Demi Moore wanted to go up there.
Oh, Linda Hamilton.
Yeah, I mean, I was just like a bunch of stupid decisions, but it's one of those ones like, but it's still really suspenseful. And even the moment where Pierce Brosnan get the feeling of like, oh shit, something's happened to the kids. Then they come around the corner, like, and it's just this like nice moment. They'll get down, get in. I just think it's a really good movie. I think like it definitely deserves to be on this list. Also, what do you say about Dante's Peak?
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, the two volcano, double feature from '97. Yeah, Dante's Peak, Volcano. While Volcano is kind of like more the personal favorite for me, just because I've watched it a lot. It doesn't mean I dislike Dante's Peak. I still think Dante's Peak. It might structurally be like the better movie, or technically the better movie. So that's why I would probably say yes to this, because as much as I just think Volcano is a little more fun overall, just because it kind of gets to things quicker. But once things get going in Dante's Peak, I do have a lot of fun with it. Yeah, the boat sequence with the grandma is a lot of fun. Yeah, the stuff where they're trying to get through the woods and the water with the truck with the snorkel and everything, trying to escape the fires and whatnot is great. The bridge sequence is fun. Like there's some really, really good stuff in Dante's Peak. So I'm not knocking it, even though I just personally like Volcano more. But it's still on my list, Malcolm. So I'll say yes for Dante's Peak.
Stacey, what do you say about Dante's Peak?
So I saw this in 1997. Didn't really remember it very much, so I did throw it on this week, and it just never really caught and held my attention. I honestly couldn't even really talk about it. I paid so little attention to it, so I have to kind of say no, because I don't really feel like I've seen it, because I don't really remember it that well. I do know that it's generally thought of as better than Volcano, but that alone is not enough for me to say yes to it.
Malcolm, my disaster double feature beginning with D, Dante's Peak and Daylight, the Sylvester Stallone movie.
Yeah. But Chad, what do you say about Dante's Peak?
Like the other ones, like Deep Impact and stuff that that I haven't seen, that I've been meaning to, the big ones. But this one, like, I've heard of in like title, I think, but I didn't really know what this was until people brought it up here. So I didn't even know this was a disaster movie. So I'll abstain.
Chad, tonight's subject is disaster movies. Just letting you know.
Thank you.
Okay, just checking. All right.
Actually, what do you say about Dante's Peak?
Well, yeah, this is what I was humming and ahhing about, and
you picked the wrong
Peak.
97 movie, Rich.
I should have just picked this one. So at least,
or not this 97 movie, the wrong double feature movie.
I should have just picked this one. I would have got a win, because I was leaning towards that, but I'm like, I don't know. My mouth just said Deep Impact for some reason. That sounds wrong. Anyway, Dante's Peak. That's a good movie. Yeah, I do like Dante's Peak. It's great. It's a lot of fun. Not as much, like Austin said, not as much fun as Volcano, but still a good fun to be had. So yeah, I would say yes.
That Dante's Peak is going to make the list. We've got one spot left. Austin, what are you going to bring up?
I'm going to close it out right here, you guys. You want something different for this list? You want something unique? Not only is it an airline movie, but it's a disaster comedy, as even classified on Wikipedia. Airplane from 1980. Let's close it out with Airplane, which is a literal spoof of a movie called 0 Hour from the 60s, I believe. And it is 0 Hour is a airline disaster movie. Takes almost the exact same dialogue from the movie, but just spices in obviously all the great humor and the gags and the jokes. You have this airline disaster, everybody getting sick on board, the pilot going down. So it again follows the same similar plot. But let's have a little fun with one of the best kind of pound for pound joke per minute movies ever made. Obviously Leslie Nielsen is amazing. It's just it's so much fun. There's so many jokes that get thrown at you. Lloyd Bridges, just Robert Stack. I mean, so great. One of the great comedies of all time. Why not close it out, guys? Our disaster list with something truly different, a disaster comedy. So I'm going to submit Airplane as number 12.
Stacey, what do you say about Airplane?
So I was actually hoping for a disaster comedy. I thought that was the one thing that was really missing. And I mean, Airplane's iconic. Like, I can't really talk too much about it. I haven't seen it in a very long time. and I'm not a huge parody movie person, so I haven't watched it as much as a lot of people. But I know the lines, and it's an iconic movie. And if we're gonna have a disaster comedy, then we'll go with the granddaddy of disaster comedies, and that would be Airplane. So yes.
Gotta get this man to a hospital. What is it? It's a building with patients, but that's not important right now.
Chad, what do you say about Airplane?
Yes, I am serious, and don't call me Shirley. I agree with Austin and Stacy that I was hoping a comedy would come up, and I was actually gonna thinking about pulling this myself because I do have it on my list. I do think it's incredible. I also don't love most spoof parody movies. But there are a lot that I do love, and this is one of them because I think it just holds up. It's one of those comedy classics that I don't think will ever, go out of style. People always keep bringing it up, showing it to their kids, and I hope it never does, at least because all the jokes are just incredible. We found out about Leslie Nielsen going from like dramatic actor to comic actor, and then he just kept going with it because he was so great at it, just playing it straight, but then being funny because he's playing it straight in a very silly movie, and whatnot. But yeah, it's like a joke per minute type movie. The disaster it makes disaster funny here, so. Like Richie was talking about, I laugh at disasters. Apparently, this one I actually do laugh at disasters. So there you go.
Richie, what do you say about Airplane?
What was it we had for dinner tonight? Oh, we had a choice between chicken or fish. Ah, that's right. I remember. I had lasagna. Nervous? Yes. First time? No, I've been nervous many times.
They hit you so fast that you're just like, wait, what? Okay, that was really clever. It was funny.
So yeah, no, Airplane's one of my favorite comedies. I thought about I thought about bringing on a comedy next, and yeah, this would probably be high up on my list. So yeah, yes, absolutely yes.
Funny enough, when I was making my list on Letterboxd with movies to potentially watch this, I put 0 Hour on. I did not think about Airplane.
It's the same movie, just without the jokes. It really is.
No,
it's the same movie.
That's where I was going with. Like,
Yeah.
I can't believe I didn't think of Airplane, considering it's the same movie. So yeah, it's a yes for me. But yeah, but with that is going to make the list and close out the shop. Stacey, what are some honorable mentions that you had?
Well, I did have World War Z, and I maintain that is a disaster movie because, well, it is kind of a virus movie. It is global. We have Brad Pitt running around the world talking to the different scientists and the doctors and the governments, trying to figure out, how to go about fixing or living through the problem as the world. And I do think it's really good, but I'm also a fan of the book. So I don't know.
The book is better. It should have been a miniseries.
The book is better. I do think, yes, it would have been better as a miniseries. But I did like how they used Brad Pitt as a UN person going and interviewing to kind of maintain the vibe of the book being told through like interviews and news stories and whatnot. Most of mine, I am like a fan. I know people don't like it. It's supposedly bad. It's not something I think is so bad it's good. It's just something I like, and that's The Day After Tomorrow. I've always really liked it. I don't know. It was one of those movies back when I had cable, and if I was flipping and it was on, I would stop and watch like every single time. I don't know why. I just do. I just like seeing everything covered in snow, I guess, and Jake Gyllenhaal in a library. I don't know. And I think Poseidon Adventure, if that came up, I would have voted yes for it. And it'd probably be not considered a disaster movie. I'm not sure. but a more recent, kind of different one that it definitely is in the end a disaster movie is Knock at the Cabin that I probably wouldn't have nominated, but I might have voted yes on. I think that is worth mentioning. And today I was thinking, and maybe this wouldn't be considered one either, but I thought it might be, and that's Rise of the Planet of the Apes. I thought could be borderline disaster movie, and I think good.
But Chad, what are some honorable mentions that you had?
Yeah, I also actually had Rise of the Planet of the Apes, but we put on Contagion, and I was like, they're very similar. So, I wasn't going to try to shoot my shot for Rise. And also, I was like torn because I was like, that whole trilogy, if you look at it, the disaster permeates through all those movies. So I was like, which one do I choose? They're all great. So that's why I was torn for that one as well. And I did think about Poseidon Adventure, but we already, and I think it's much, much better than that's the one than Towering Inferno. But since we already had Towering Inferno, I didn't bring that one up either. But I do recommend that one big time. Actually, I almost brought this one up. It's very new though. A Society of the Snow, the plane crash movie, I thought was pretty fantastic. Let's see, Airplane, Snowpiercer. I was thinking about, but I'm not sure if it counts.
But I thought that was more post-apocalyptic than.
Yeah, I could see it.
Film, yeah.
Deepwater Horizon. I almost brought up. Yeah, and another post-apocalyptic thing like Children of Men. So I had a kind of a weird list. That's why I was trying to pick around, like trying to find ones that actually fit more. One that I almost brought up, but then I was like, well, there's kind of a question in the whole movie whether there actually is a disaster or not. And it was Take Shelter. I think is a fantastic movie, but I was like, well, I don't know. There's a big question about that. It's a very good psychological movie, but I don't know. Does it count as a disaster? So I didn't bring that one up, although I almost did. Yeah, I didn't have much more on my list, so I'll end it there. I wanted to see the Abyss. Is that a disaster? I wanted to check that one out, and then I wanted to check out Underwater too.
I didn't
Kinda, and even Underwater there's an underwater disaster to kind of trigger the movie, but it's more of a
monster
underwater creature monster movie, than anything else. Like
those ones I haven't seen, so I wasn't.
It's
sure.
on the border. But I love Underwater. Underwater's awesome.
It is really good. Underwater was surprisingly.
Underwater kicks so much ass. That movie's great. But yeah.
Richie, what are some honorable mentions that you had?
Yeah, I had Underwater on my list. So if you go to IMDb, it says disaster. I think there's enough there.
I didn't check IMDb to see what it said.
Yeah,
some of them, we'll say disaster underneath them, like as one of the little things, the tags.
Yeah. I think there's enough there for a conversation. Don't Look Up. A bit of a different comedy sort of disaster movie, but yeah, and also in the realm of comedy, This Is the End.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the sort of ones. Pez mentioned it before, but Daylight was still owns right. Yeah, those are sort of the ones.
Not that I had it on my list; it's just on that double Blu-ray. It's fine. Yeah, it's fine. It's one of his better acted movies. I think it's fine. Yeah.
One other one can I mention real quick? The one I thought Chad was first gonna say when he said 13 Lives that I don't remember well enough to talk about. I just remember really liking was 33. The mining one based on the true story. Does anybody know what I'm talking about?
I haven't heard that.
Huh?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So that one, that's what I thought you were gonna. I was gonna vote yes, even though I hardly remember because I just remember really liking it. But anyway, sorry about that interruption. Continue.
Let's not forget Geo Disaster. That's a lot. I haven't seen it. That's the last one that I got out. But no, one that came up on a few lists that I did put on my list, but I didn't bring it up because I'm not fully sold on it. Is Snakes on a Plane that came up on a few lists for disaster movie?
No, thank you.
And I mean, one that I definitely wasn't going to bring out that randomly came up on a few lists was United 93, the movie about the terrorist attack, which is random on that a whole other level. Yeah, I was also considering bringing up Day After Tomorrow or 2012, but once we got Independence Day, I was like, yeah, there's probably no chance of getting either of those on there. I prefer those movies to Independence Day personally. And yeah, I was also going to bring up Poseidon Adventure, but Austin, any on your honorable mentions you're going to bring up?
Yeah, no, I didn't know. I figured Malcolm, you would have brought up one of the two, 70s ones, and yeah, if you brought up Sudden Adventure, I'd roll with you on that one. Like I said, Stacy almost brought up. I thought she was going to bring up 2012. I kind of would have brought it because again, I think it's sort of Roland Emmerich's like just going for broke. Like I'm just going to throw everything at the screen, and like it is fun in that way. I think more so than Day After Tomorrow. I like both versions of War of the Worlds. I think they're both pretty damn great, and I think it's almost even like Steven Spielberg doing some great epic disaster stuff in that movie. Deepwater Horizon I had on there. San Andreas is stupid, but it's fun. Again, some really good disaster stuff in there. But it's a good time. And Cloverfield I might have considered just for a found footage sort of disaster
Cloverfield
movie.
was on my mental list.
More of like a found footage disaster perspective, sort of a thing. I think it'd be pretty all right. So there you go.
I wish I remembered to write that down.
Yeah,
and a couple that were mentioned in the chat. Brian brought up Earthquake, which is another 70s.
Earthquake is a little boring, bad miniature effects. I'm not as big on it. Perfect Storm's pretty good. Backdraft is boring. Always committed the Backdraft is boring.
I'm pretty sure
the core sucks, but it's kind of
the core sucks. I hate the core.
Sorry, not a fan.
A lot of the other ones are ones we've already talked about. Brian also brought up The Happening.
It is, but on the best of all time, like I will watch it because it's. So
I think it's guilty pleasure because it's so bad. It's funny.
Yeah. It's unintentional comedy disaster. That's for sure.
The Perfect Storm actually. That storm happened when I was in middle school, and I was out. It was Halloween, and I was like out in a neighborhood by the beach in the perfect storm, not on a ship on the water. So it wasn't that bad, but it was crazy to me when I saw that movie.
Into the Storm's another bad storm movie. If you want to, it's got Sarah Wayne Callis and Thorne.
Yeah, the bad found footage version of Twister that's vastly inferior in every way. Yeah.
But with that, and honestly, I haven't seen it in a while, so I don't know if the funness holds up. I probably would like. I do think Sharknado is pretty fun, even though it's bad. But that it's time to get to ranking these. Just to recap what's on the list, we've got Krista, the Impossible, Titanic, Volcano, Armageddon, Greenland, Gravity, The Towering Inferno, Independence Day, Contagion, Dante's Peak, and Airplane. But Austin, what do you have for 12?
Just because I have a feeling some other people are going to vote on it, and I'm fine with it being at number 12, I'll say Towering Inferno.
Stacy, what do you say at 12?
I said Gravity only because of the two I haven't seen on the list. This one seemed like less of a disaster movie to me.
Chad, what do you have for 12?
Austin was right. Towering Inferno.
I figured Chad was going to vote on it anyway. So like that.
Richie, what do you have for 12?
I had The Impossible.
And you'll know where I was going.
I knew you
You're going to have that there for a while.
You're going to have that for a minute.
Oh,
I'm not going to lie. I was considering changing it to something just potentially save Towering Inferno, but. Stacey, what do you have for 11?
Well, now it's the only one I haven't seen, so I'm just going to keep with Gravity until it's gone.
Chad, what do you have for 11?
That's similar wavelength that I have. Dante's Peak.
Richie, what do you have for 11?
Sticking with The Impossible.
I mean, technically, I'm sticking with The Impossible Task, but it's a different Impossible. Austin,
just because it's not a personal favorite, The Impossible.
Ooh,
that makes me sad, but okay.
That makes me really sad.
Sorry, it's not a personal favorite. I've seen every other movie on this list way more times. So, yeah.
Chad, what do you have for 10?
I didn't get to write it down, but I'll join Malcolm Independence Day.
Ooh.
Richie, what do you have for 10?
Fucking lying. No. I'll go Dante's Peak.
Independence Day. Austin.
Dante's Peak because Volcano's better.
And Stacy.
Well, I have Gravity, but I have to break the tie, right?
Yeah.
Yep, Independence Day or Dante's Peak.
That's an easy one for me, thank God. Dante's Peak.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nicely done, Stacy.
I was waiting for the twist. Like, it's an easy one. Independence Day.
Nah,
I know, but I don't like where this is going as far as the Independence Day hate, though.
me neither.
We're gonna have to be on the same page in order to overcome it.
Like the impossible.
I think 3 of you like that, so it's fine.
Yeah, but if
Probably
2 of them
good.
keep voting and then we're all split, then it's going away. So that's the conundrum here.
What? I mean, it depends on if the split works in that way as well. But it's like,
Well, you know what I'm still voting for.
Yeah. Anyway,
that might play into my strategy. Let's just say that.
Richie, what do you have for 9?
Contagion.
Second of Independence Day. Austin.
To potentially save Independence Day, Gravity.
Stacy.
Gravity.
Richie, Gravity or Independence Day?
Wait, I didn't vote.
Chad didn't vote yet.
Oh,
didn't
Chad,
vote
what do you have?
I'll stick with Independence Day, but this makes me mad. I was gonna put something else before.
Gravity.
Richie, what do you...
Oh God, now I have to make choices.
Once we get to a certain point, I'll be okay.
Gravity at
with
9? Are you
Independence Day.
kidding me? Come on, guys.
All right, I haven't seen
You're
it.
gonna put Independence Day at night. I don't want that.
Yeah, that's on you.
I wasn't gonna vote that until you voted Gravity, then I was forced to.
Well, I mean, you could have said something else, Chad. That was just my bad for forgetting you. I just assumed you were sticking with but Richie, what do you have for 8?
Contagion.
Sticking for Independence Day. Austin.
Contagion.
Stacy.
I have Dante's Peak.
Dante's
Chad.
Peak is already eliminated.
That's gone.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, okay, hold on. I don't know. I don't want to say Contagion, even though I want to say Independence Day. All right, fine. I'll go with Contagion because the other ones that I would probably vote now are going to go higher anyway.
And Chad, what are you voting for?
I'm fine with Contagion. I didn't write it down though.
That Contagion's going to be at 8. Second of Independence Day. Austin.
Just because it's more recent. Again, I've seen the more stuff more times. Greenland.
Stacy.
I'm going to say Volcano.
Chad.
Y'all vote Greenland.
Richie.
Greenland.
Oh. That and the
I don't know what you have against the country, but Greenland is there.
I'm more of an Iceland guy, to be fair. Yeah.
Because they named it no wrong. Greenland's not green. So,
Greenland's full of ice and Iceland's full
Iceland's
of green.
green. Yeah, exactly. So, they got it all backwards. That's on them, not me.
But Austin, what do you have for 6?
Just to have pure disaster movies in the top 5, Airplane.
Stacy, what do you have for 6?
I just left Volcano, but I'd be fine with Airplane too.
Chad.
I'll go with Stacy and Volcano.
Richie.
Airplane.
Independence Day. I mean, it's on me to break the tie between Volcano and Airplane.
He always keeps this in suspense while he types it.
Yeah,
Hey.
it's more of a case that it means that I don't have to say something, then type the band. I can do them both at the same time. But Stacey, what do you have for number 5? Just to recap what we've got left. got Twister, Titanic, Volcano, Armageddon, and Independence Day.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with Volcano.
Chad,
Yeah, same. Volcano.
Richie,
I'm actually fine with Independence Day landing here.
Independence Day, Austin.
Volcano. But I'm so happy I got it in the top 5. It's amazing. It's awesome because it rules.
I'm glad I finally got around to seeing it. It's one that I probably will end up
Yeah.
buying.
It's
buying
it's
if I
very
even find it.
rewatchable, man. I'm telling you, you'll be like, man, I feel like watching Volcano today.
I mean, to be fair, but like for me, most of the disaster movies that we watch were like I've lost track of the amount of times I've watched Day After Tomorrow. Chad, what do you have for
Independence Day.
Richie?
Independence Day.
Independence Day, Austin.
You can change your board, Malcolm. Independence Day.
Stacey, what do you have for?
I had Twister, but it does not matter.
It would have been funny if I changed my board the time everyone else read it.
Yeah, exactly.
I just had Twister in the theater too. I saw a lot of '90s disaster movies in the theater. Like, I think all of them. These.
Alright, Twister, Titanic, and Armageddon left. This one actually pains me, but then again,
I like all these movies. So
no, it kind of pains me because I can't put this higher, but I like the other two more. Richie, what do you have for number 3?
It's tough. I could go through either 3 of these movies number 1, but I put Armageddon.
Armageddon. Austin.
Titanic.
Stacey.
I still have Twister.
And Chad.
Armageddon.
Armageddon is going with 3, and this time we go for number 1 between Titanic and Twister.
This list is full of 90s goodness, and I like it.
Yeah,
Golden era of disaster movies. It's great.
Oh. Well, I mean, it's one of those ones like 90s and even the 70s. Like, even though like 70s had quite a few interesting but somewhat good disaster movies as well. But for me, number 1 is Titanic. Austin.
Twister.
Titanic.
Stacey. Chad.
Yeah, it's the one I most wanted to talk about coming on this episode, Titanic.
And Richie.
I said Titanic as well.
Oh, I'm in the minority. Twister rules.
I got number 2.
It does.
Titanic is awesome. It's half a disaster movie. But anyways.
Yeah.
It probably wouldn't have been at the top of my list if it came down to other movies, but I just don't like Twister as much.
Yeah. But with that, to recap our top 12 disaster movies, at number 12 we've got The Towering Inferno. At 11 we've got The Impossible. At 10 we've got Dante's Peak. At 9 we've got Gravity. At 8 we've got Contagion. At 7 we've got Greenland. At 6 we've got Airplane. At 5 we've got Volcano. At 4 we've got Independence Day. At 3 we've got Armageddon. At 2 we've got Twister. And at number 1 we've got Titanic. But I think we all forgot that the real number 1 movie is the best movie that everyone knew was so good that they didn't even bring it up, but it's Disaster Movie.
All right, so we're doing worst disaster movies next week. Number 1, disaster.
Okay, well,
movie.
Moonfall. I'm going to make a case.
Moonfall.
Geostorm.
Get it on some list.
Geo disaster.
Yeah, I know. Every asylum movie ever made. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, there could be a mix of Asylum and Walland
And some of the Jagged Edge movies John Marr's
Jagged
done,
Edge
that,
movies
like
as well.
those mega lightning movies or whatever, like the stupid things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But realistically, next week is going to be top 12 Tom Hardy movies. It should be an interesting list.
You motherfuckers better vote Bronson. That movie was
Bronson.
Maybe
Yeah.
I'll watch it for that.
I'm just saying, anybody who's on that episode, watch Bronson before you come on that episode, please, for God's sakes.
But Austin, where can people find you on the topic?
You can mostly find me over on the Movie Hero Network, co-hosting and or hosting a lot of shows over there. We got Tier Ranker Fights, Tournament Fights. Malcolm's a part of a lot of those. I co-host Wheel of Movies with Richie over there. Our most recent episode, we did a deep dive on Galaxy Quest. So you can go check that out if you like. Yeah, we did an hour-long discussion with Wolfman about that. Come check us out. All kinds of stuff going on over there. Richie is also part of our panel. The Lonely Marks Wrestling Podcast, which has a new home. It has its own channel now. So just search Lonely Marks Wrestling Podcast or check out the Movie Hero Network Facebook group, and you can find links to that as well, obviously. So we would love for you to join us. So thank you. No, I love disaster movies. This is a lot of fun. So thank you very much. Love talking about it.
Stacey, where can people find you online?
Well, lately I've been here a lot. This is like my 3rd out of 4 shows, I think, but I don't know if that will continue. We'll see what the topics are. You can also sometimes find me over at the Dill Pickle Movie Network on various shows that if they ask me on, I come on. And other than that, I pop up here and there in movie spaces when my presence is requested, but no place that I can guarantee I'll be. Online, I'm Stacy LM78 on most social medias.
Chad, where can people find you online?
My internet may or may not be being weird right now. So if I cut up, I'm sorry. But I'll just I'll just be quick. Check out the Dill Pickle Movie Network. Particularly Picture This, if you want to see us go through all of the Best Picture nominees and the winners. We have a lot of fun over there. Check out Welcome to Primetime if you like the horror movies discussion, and also Buffy the Vampire Slayer, because we're talking about that as well. And then check out Cinema Chad, where I normally I do other things, but normally I do a show called You Rankin' with Me, where we rank stuff like filmographies, directors, just a lot of different stuff, and I have fun doing it. Mostly movies, but I should get into TV soon. Austin's been on there, and I got to get these other people on there at some point as well. So thank you guys. This was a lot of fun.
Richie, we can move on you online.
Yeah, I've been here a lot as well, so you can find me here. I'm on Tournament Fights. I think I'll be on the TV. The TV on the battle one with Steven versus Chris Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just got that list, by the way. So, not as wild as some of his movie lists. I'll say that. So I'll reassure you on that one. Good stuff on there. Yeah.
So that'll be fun. I also did a ranking type show. Aaron Canol's got one on the Battleground. I was on the first one. That was coming out soon. That was me and Medi. We just ranked Denis Villeneuve's filmography. So that was fun.
I'll be doing that with him for Zack Snyder movies.
Yeah. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Let's check that out. And other than that, Lonely Marks. And check that out every Thursday, and you can see what you can.
He's probably going to say you can hear us talk about Clash of the Castle this week, and we're also doing a redux of an earlier draft we did from last year. So if he's he's about to go. I got you, Richie. I knew what you were going with. What we're talking about.
I think CM Punk cut me off because I said, "Are you going to explain why I think CM Punk's a dirty heel?" So there you go. So you can check that out, and then we're doing another draft, and then all good.
You can Find me on Taper Productions, where I host Rankin every week. And I am also going to start sort of doing some stuff on my own personal channel. There'll probably be an announcement coming in the next couple of days. I was just waiting to finalize graphics and stuff, so I have graphics to announce things with. But there will be a wrestling type show with that that I'll be doing on my own personal channel. But you can also find me popping up on Movie Network as well. I'm also on the TV tournament fights this week. I'm not on it, but I believe the mystery tournament's happening this week with Simon Says being in the mix.
We can't escape it, Richie. It's
talk about it anyway.
And we even drafted Dennis Rodman, so he's all over the place on on all of our shows right now for the rest of that draft.
But with that does bring us to the end of another episode of Rankum, and see you next week for Tom Hardy. And just remember, the coast is toast.
They can either believe it or they cannot believe it. I don't give two